everybody. I'd like to extend a warm welcome to everyone that's joining us here today, whether you're from our existing AGR community or whether you're a prospective customer who's really keen to get to the bottom of what it's really like to be a customer in AGR. I'm Julie, and I'm joined here today by my colleague Jesper. We are leading the SaaS customer success functions. I'm based in the UK, Jesper's here in Copenhagen, but we manage customers across the globe, so it's not just in each of those countries. On a day-to-day basis, we manage the implementation of the system into yourselves, we do training, and then once you're up and running, we manage helping you to get the best out of the system. Okay, Jesper, yes. We're joined today.
Yes, just referring to Granberg, I'm still happy they're here. They were my first customer when I started 7 years ago. Okay. And we actually both started 7 years ago.
On the same day almost.
Yeah, we went to the same introduction course and everything in Iceland. We're going to have a panel discussion today. We brought along, or you were happy to come along, two of our customers. We have Christian from PanzerGlass and Dean from Birlea. And maybe you can give a short or an introduction of who you are, your company, maybe to set the scene for our audience so they know where you're coming from. So Dean, please share a little bit.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. Yeah, so as you said, I'm Dean Powell. I'm the head of supply chain for Birlea. We're a UK-based furniture company. Been around, privately owned for about 27 years. Mainly business to business kind of sales. But we have ventured into the business to consumer market recently, which all businesses will see opens up lots of challenges and lots of difficulties in terms of that. So, but personally, been in supply chain and management for about 30 plus years. So, lots of different sectors. So the last sector I worked in was in the train building industry. So a normal train has about 500,000 SKUs that you need to manage. So that's been a bit of a challenge.
Yeah, and maybe a little bit about your setup, ERP, location setup, SKUs.
So at the moment we're based just in the UK out of a few warehouses. We use Business Central in terms of our main purchase process. AGR is very much our kind of focus-driven engine, looking at it from a stock optimization point of view as well. We are mainly UK-based, but we are looking to venture out into other warehousing, maybe looking out in the Far East as well, and looking at new markets, potentially in Dubai and the US.
Yeah. And you are sourcing your products?
So we do about 97% of our product comes from the Far East. So China, Malaysia, Vietnam. We do about 3% out of Brazil, so out of South America. So very, very focused on imports. We are impacted by global events. Tariffs coming on board, all those kind of things that happen. Just for a small company in the middle of East Midlands in the UK, it can be quite scary sometimes. So, yeah.
Oh, nice. Thank you, Dean.
Thank you.
Christian, yeah?
Yes, I'm working at PanzerGlass as a manager of our planning and forecasting team. PanzerGlass is a global screen protector brand company, started a little over 10 years ago. Today we are a little more than 200 employees in almost around 70 different countries, with offices in China and in Dubai, and our headquarters in Denmark, Aarhus. We also operate warehouses in 3 locations, same places as our offices, and that means we're managing approximately 3,000 active SKUs. Those are active in all 3 locations, so that becomes quite a lot of different lines to manage, which is where AGR also comes into the picture. We mainly sell screen protection, but I've recently started to venture into other mobile phone accessories, that being cases, or it could be other accessories for phones. So that also means we need even more help managing new product launches, new product categories for us even. And it's so important to mention that we are only an accessory partner, so we cannot drive sales without phones also being sold. So for us, overstocking is dangerous, as we cannot just discount goods and sell them if nobody owns an iPhone 11 anymore. Yeah.
Understood.
So we need to be on top of that.
How many SKUs are you dealing with, Dean? Are you?
So I think on AGR Live at the moment, we've probably got, well, not probably, we've got 3,887 lines on
Very
there.
good.
I mean, some of those are really small fitting parts that we still need to order for a bed, right up to the end product, which could be like a, super king-size bed with a plasma screen TV coming out the end.
Wow.
So, but the core number of lines is about 900 in terms of it. They really drive our business in terms of it. And for us, one of the biggest challenges that we had last year was we've increased that by about 28% in terms of new lines. New lines are really our lifeblood of our sector. We fall to trends. I think you only have to have a social influencer on TikTok or Instagram showing a product, and the next thing you know, it's black-coloured fluted wardrobes, which are the next thing. So, we've launched quite a lot of products like that.
Excellent. Perhaps you, Christian, could tell us about your journey into AGR, because you both have very different
Yes.
journeys to talk about. So perhaps you could just give us a
Yeah,
bit of a
of course.
flavour of how it was for you.
When I started out working for PanzerGlass almost 5 years ago, everything was done in spreadsheets. And I think
Love a spreadsheet.
everyone knows
Everyone
how
loves
that
a
feels.
spreadsheet.
But I've really pushed to get that more systemized and automate as many processes as possible. And in the beginning of 2024, we started out moving from on-prem Navision, Microsoft Navision, to Business Central. So that naturally led us to look into our whole IT setup, not only ERP, but also should we implement something that could help us in our forecasting, planning, inventory management. And say that we had a discussion if that should be a customized solution in Business Central or a external company. I think we quickly figured out not customizing things in BC makes life a lot easier.
Yep. We see the same.
Yeah. So we chose to go with AGR, and mainly because we needed to move away from spreadsheets or spreadsheets connected to SQL databases that were 200 megabyte large files that nobody could open because it took too long. And we needed like the alerts and the
exceptions.
the
maybe.
exception
Yeah.
exactly that AGR is able to provide us. Our lead time, our product life cycles are extremely short. On average, maybe between 16 and 20 weeks. So we need to be on top of everything. And we are obviously launching a lot of new products all the time.
Seems to be a common theme.
Yeah, and every time a new phone launches, we have between 5 and 100 different new products ready.
Okay. And so at that time you decided AGR was the route for you, and you haven't had AGR very long, have you?
No, we haven't. Since 1st of November, I think we went live. Maybe Jesper remembers better than me.
No, it sounds right.
So it's been completely new for us. And on top of starting out with AGR, we have also we went live on Business Central 1st of March. So it's been quite hectic few months. But I think overall it's been a very smooth journey with AGR. Also the change from being connected to our nav servers to Business Central.
So you actually moved, you went live with AGR on nav.
Yes.
And then have
And
swapped recently to
just
Business
today
Central.
we got the last things fixed
Yeah.
with our Business Central connection. So it went really smooth, and it's been great to be able to compare systems, and also we had a good dialogue about what changes needed to be moved over and which ones we could scrap because we again moved away from customized solutions.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I remember in one of our sessions you said, I'm really amazed by your product team or development team. I was able to add a location myself, so you said credit to the development
absolutely.
team that you were able to just go in. We haven't even talked about it, and then I added it myself. I was able to do it. So that was
very
pretty good.
intuitive. Yeah.
What about you, Dean? I mean, you're journey's been slightly different, hasn't it, from
Has.
Christian's?
Yeah, so I started with Birlea about 18 months ago. So I inherited AGR. So for me, I didn't get to see what the kind of system was like and go along with that development. So, and to be honest, the business at that time was wanting, I think, to go backwards initially. They wanted to look at what they could use in terms of an Excel forecasting sheet, and it was so I managed to hold off on that for a period of time. But actually, the simplicity of the AGR system and just being able to navigate it was really powerful for me. And we're still here with AGR and really excited about what else it can deliver for our business in terms of the new things that we need to do in terms of it. So,
Especially with growth that you were talking about.
yeah, I mean, really, really mad in terms of growth at the moment. Double digits, 28% growth last year. Double digit again predicted this year. New lines, etc. We really need a system which will kind of help us and develop and keep us growing the way that we need to. And I think AGR is that software. So yeah, definitely sticking with it through that time. And I've learned so much about it as well. And I think when I first joined, being the support was still there. That I kind of got the training from you, Julie.
It was
as if I was you were just launching it within the business, and I could see straight away that you wanted the time and the development to be able to go through with me. And so, that's shown benefits for us as a company.
Oh, that's great. However, there are, as we've heard today, many challenges to achieving what we want. Can you just talk about some of those challenges? And either of you, we know there are plenty of shared challenges.
Yes, there are. I can start off with master data, and I can only point fingers at myself because I'm also responsible at PanzerGlass for making sure that's correct. But our setup is right now not very good, which also means there's some functions in AGR that we cannot use 100% optimally. So I think that's as always, and I think someone else said it before.
I think Hooker mentioned
something in,
rubbish
something
data
out.
in, rubbish data out. I think that's what he meant. Yeah.
I think that's one of our biggest challenges, making sure that everything like lead times, if a product is make to order or make to stock, different replenishment policies, when a product is end of life, product life cycles in general.
Yeah.
If we don't have that under control, then it's harder to gain the best out of AGR.
Yes, and we see that, and that's generally why when we're implementing a project, that's where we'd start. Data validation is usually the first stage, and once you've got that up and running, then the functionality within AGR should work to its optimum.
Always improve on the data quality.
Yeah.
It's pretty normal that customers need to update their data because suddenly ADI is using it for something and you might not have been using it previously, so it hasn't been that important, lead time for one or order multiples or something like that.
Yes.
So that is. So that was a challenge with the master data, right?
For us, it was to get that fixed and sorted. We probably started out just bulk updating everything to an average. And then slowly we started to look deeper into it and make it more accurate per item category. And then, I think in a few months we'll start looking on a SKU level instead of categories.
Yeah, I mean, I fully support that in terms of the master data is really important. The complexity of our inventory, I think. So, I've talked about the 28% growth in terms of some of the new lines that we've launched in the last 18 months. That just adds. We've not delisted some of those lines either in terms of, so we're just growing. Lead times, I think, is for me. So as an importer, 100% of my product comes from outside of the UK. So those lead times are massive. So we have supplier base which can turn it around in 60 days. But I have ones that are up to 160 days in terms of lead time, right at the far east of China, near North Korea normally. It takes 8 days to get to the port from the factory. So, 8 hours, sorry, not 8 days. But it's, having a system which having a system and trying to manage that complexity, especially when we have market fluctuations.
So you're
as
probably
well.
interested to hear what Sigrun said then about some of what's coming.
Absolutely.
With the vendor and the lead time.
No, some of those are really exciting in terms of being able to manage it. So we have about 35 suppliers that we use. Some are good, some are bad. But it was interesting to see also that Dennis has those in BoConcept has those similar kind of challenges from it. And just those market fluctuations that I've talked about as well, being able to be agile enough to turn around a product really quickly. New life cycle that you had is amazing. But we have the same, but we have to react quite quickly as well.
I mean, when you go to the furniture shows that we heard
yes,
about, I mean, what happens
you were
then?
on there, Birmingham
what happens if
Furniture
you suddenly
Show.
get a rush? What do you do
Well,
then?
I mean, that's the big challenge as well. So on those new lines that we launched, somewhere along the line, like 158% growth in terms of those new lines. I mean, how do you...
Growth, lots of people really dream of.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic problems to have. But
Yeah.
how do you manage that? Well, I just think, again, it's about data and about setting up the products right at the start, having the right data, having the safety stock in place. You know, that's really key. And AGR has so many functionalities around letting us choose the right safety stock for when we launch a new line, and then letting it flow once it's settled in. And I think that's quite important
So
as well.
have you made use of the recent development that we've released to do with the varying different safety stocks? You can now choose from 3 types, can't you?
We did. Oh, in fact, we've had very detailed conversations around that with my owner, because one of the other challenges, and I'm sure we'll come on to that, is around, or one of the benefits that we've had is around stock optimization. So we don't want to hold massive amount of stock in terms of we've got to get it right, but still maintain that availability in those sales.
So, I mean, beside that, how can AGL help you with these challenges then? I mean, what tools can you use? What do you really, sort of drill into in the system? What can you...
What sold it for me was seeing the connected items function. Say now we have thousands of connected items each year, so very happy to hear that it's being looked into a smarter solution of connected items. But the ability to connect them and create this chain of, for us, everything is about phones. So going from an iPhone 12 to 13 to 14, etc. That has really helped a lot in creating that baseline for an initial order. And the launch period's always the most important for us. I think we sell probably 50% in the first 3 months of a product life cycle, and then it slowly...
And how do you know? Do you get told what the length of the life cycle of a product's going to be? Do you get secret information?
Again, it's based on a phone market, so we will have to research a lot about what is going on there.
Okay.
We have partnerships with select phone manufacturers that helps us. But yeah, the connected items feature is super valuable to us in order to get those first numbers in the system. Of course, we'll combine that with a sales forecast, but it's really nice to have an objective number that no one has touched.
You mentioned you had short life cycles, but still you need to keep the older models in stock, right?
It differs a lot for different, but Apple phones in general has multiple years of lifetime, but we like to support every phone that's still being sold actively. So that also means there's a lot of active products. And that's a big challenge for us as well with overstocking, because phones are taken out of the market, or legislation is passed that you cannot sell phones with a lightning plug any longer. So things like that, of course, affects us. And we have to... But before we didn't really have anywhere to put all of this info. Now we have started also closing down forecasts, putting in forecast end dates for products when we know that they at some point will be gone from the market.
Are you using the bulk update to do that, or are you down on SKU level doing?
SKU level currently.
And I would fully support that. I mean, connected items is really key for us in our furniture world. So not just new lines, but when we have a version change. So we sometimes, because we work closely with the factory, we might change just slightly the product. So he goes, I don't know, from 5 drill holes in a bed to 3, and or narrowing the headboard down. That product's still going to stay the same, but we need to make sure that we can manage that and give the system the right forecast, while still managing the old stock as well. So it's a really key one. And I think just being able to use the dashboards as well, for me, in terms of, that's a good functionality of AGR. I don't want my work to be a guessing game. I think that's what I want to take away in terms of it. It used to be like a dark art trying to get these numbers correct. Well, it shouldn't be like that. I want it to, the guess to be taken out and actually use the data to drive our business forward, because that's how we're going to open up cash flow. That's how we're going to reduce our stock numbers if we trust the data.
So what do you use in AGR to help you give you that insight?
I would say absolutely around the safety stock.
Yep.
So safety stock's really keen for us in terms of having the right amount.
Are you using the ABC classification to differentiate the
a
products?
little bit. I think for us, because of the idiosyncrasies of our own business, sometimes we use our own little product classification. And I know what we can do is fully utilize the customized columns that AGR offer.
Yep.
So whilst it doesn't form part of the background calculation, what it enables us to do is to view and to filter and to produce reports on what we deem as important. So I think that's really good, and I've utilised, I think, a couple of those in terms of
this is where we just bring in data which is specific to a customer, not included in functions, but to give you insight that you're used to seeing from your ERP or whatever.
Absolutely.
It isn't necessarily part of the standard AGR, but means you can have different columns to Christian and so on.
Great tool to have in terms of, just so I can, when me or the team are actually looking at the system, we can actually say, yes, it's one of our A lines, it's one of our new lines, etc. So.
Great. What would you say is key to getting buy-in from the team? Because we do training of yourselves, the super users, occasionally users, but sometimes it's a challenge getting people on board with a new system. I mean, have you managed sort of integrating that into your daily flow, your work process? I mean,
Well, I think that's really important. I think because one of the key things is about that cadence, that rhythm of utilising things like the reports. We've already spoken around the different suite of reports that AGR can offer. Those now form part of our daily processes, where previously they weren't. So it's very, my boss talks about the hokey cokey report, which is like the in and out.
Oh.
So it's, have you looked at that today? Have we looked at the stock emergency, the ordering cycle ones in terms of it? And the great thing about those reports, you can kind of customize them slightly as well. So it's very specific to what Birlea want in terms of it. So I think getting the team to buy into checking those and manage the exception, as opposed to just trying to go through those 800 lines, is really important, I think.
I think that it's been quite easy to get our planners to work in AGR, and they feel that the time they spend on planning and forecasting is spent much smarter now. They don't have to spend time on updating spreadsheets or copy pasting new products. And so all the time is actually spent on value adding things and value adding time. So that's been a huge change in
which
how they
is
actually
key, isn't it? It's not just about implementing a new system, a different way of doing things. It's the whole change management process around that, isn't it? Which
exactly, but it still has been quite intuitive. I think AGI overall has been intuitive. It's a lot of columns and cells. So if you know how to use Excel, you basically can find your way around AGR as well. And no crazy code is being shown to people.
To people that don't know it. Like myself, I was not a technical resource.
So I think that's really nice. It's not scaring anybody away from trying it out. And I think it's very hard to mess something up.
It is. Yeah. You said planning. So you're using the planner tab in the item card when you do planning overriding the forecast or giving improvements,
potentially,
promotions.
yeah,
And,
or creating. Currently, we are not connected from. We're not creating purchase orders directly in our ERP system from HR, so we still have a slightly different process there. But the what's it called, the grid on the item card is probably our most used tab. So like, seeing undelivered and like what HR estimates, and we'll probably do some adjustments outside of HR currently, so that we hope to also be able to move into HR. Once we, for example, have more detailed customer planning, will be amazing for us. 95% of our business is to other distributors, so it's super important for us to be able to collect their forecasts and put them into HR. We have also been lacking a system that can do that for a while.
yeah. I know you were also using the customer level, at least to on a higher level, to go in and manipulate your data and exclude some of your own data, or your own companies, right?
Yeah, we have so many trading companies, so to make sure that we don't take our internal trading into account when forecasting, it's been really nice to be able to filter that away, or as was also shown on the presentation, filter out customers where you stopped doing business with. That's been very nice to be able to do that with one click, naturally.
Or taking out the one-off orders as well.
Yes.
That we have. So we deliver directly to some customers. It never hits our warehouse in terms of it. So being able to take those one-off kind of orders out of the forecast, so it doesn't kind of skew the data, so to speak, in terms of which that's quite powerful for it, to be fair. So, and I think once people see that and those functionalities, I think the big thing is to get people to trust the system. To be fair, I always tell the team kind of like, look, get the data right at the start. And tweak it a little bit if you've got promotions and stuff like that, but trust the system then to be able to do it. Because if the more you tweak it all the time, the more kind of the rubbish you're going to get out of at the end of it, to be fair. So trust is a really big part, I think, of the team to be able to use the system.
Yeah, and I mean, AGR is a system.
Yeah.
It won't, I believe, ever replace humans.
No.
We need humans to engage in the system, but it takes out a lot of the crunch work, and it allows users to review, analyse, rather than all the preparation of the data and that kind of thing. Everything's integrated from one module to the other.
I think, like Christian said, it's about we're able to step away and add value to the rest of the business then, to be fair, as opposed to being that data crunching, to be fair. So we're managing by the exception, aren't we, now, in terms of the system. So that's what the reports are there for. It's the exceptions, or the promotional activities and stuff.
But the majority run itself.
But the majority of our work now is just, it's just standard stuff in terms of where we're at. So I think we can add value to our businesses, which surely is a selling point as well too.
Absolutely, yeah. I think the alternative would be, for us at least, when adding a lot of new product categories, a lot of new items, that would have been to hire more people to do the same job that we can handle in a small team today with AGR. Yeah.
So it allows for scalability.
Absolutely,
basically.
yes, it does.
Yeah. Okay. What features then? I mean, you've already mentioned connected items. What other features would you recommend to the prospects that we have on the call today, or maybe other customers that aren't really using all of AGR?
Connected items.
Connected items. Yeah, we've heard about that.
Because it's worth mentioning. That, and then for us, customer level planning will become a huge thing. We do weekly or bi-weekly collaborative planning meetings with a lot of our big customers.
Okay.
So being able to implement their forecast directly into HR instead of, today we only have half the picture because you
can take see the history.
So combining that in one, having one source and one truth, that will be really good. So I think, I'm super
looking
interested
forward
to
to
hear
that.
more about that.
Lots of our customers are looking forward to that. I must say, we're looking forward to that as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was great to see about the increased customer kind of functionality that we're going to see. I think we're launching on quite a lot of kind of UK retailers out there, and I think they're going to help share with us in terms of forecasting. So we're going to be able to use that intelligent data to help us a little bit more in terms of it. But yeah, connective items is another one I'm really excited about.
It's
As
a
well.
big love today. Then.
Yeah,
Connected
we were
items,
sitting in there, they were nodding. Yeah,
Connected
this
items.
looks good
Okay.
with the supplier performance, a new item workspace, and that stuff.
Yeah, also in the presentations you talked about the different types of data integrators in terms of our ordering system. So we fully utilize those kind of activities as well. So you're creating the orders for us, we're sense checking it slightly and then just putting it straight into our
Pressing the
system
button.
to be able to place the order, to be fair. So, that's a great functionality that I find. It saves a lot of time as well in terms of it.
Yeah, absolutely. We got now in Business Central that we're using now. There's no smart way to create purchase orders if you have to create a lot of them.
Okay.
It's super time consuming to go through purchase order document by purchase order document.
Yes.
So having that feature available will also be a big time saver.
Okay. Well, you've got the audience here today. You've seen Sigrun, Einar, and Håkon. What would you ask for them? What other things would you say would be good to help you?
Improvement ideas.
Improvement
I would say.
ideas.
They
We
should
always
come
welcome
from you.
improvement ideas for everybody.
Stop
Wish
listening
list,
to me.
isn't it?
purely,
It's a wish
so-
list, okay.
Yeah.
So seeing the new vendor features, I think I only missed one thing, and that is lead time being split between production and transportation.
Okay.
We ship most of our goods on air freight, but of course are moving more and more to sea freight. And having the system being able to help with that, proposing maybe initial orders on air freight and replenishment on sea freight, or however we see
Sigrun,
fit.
wherever you are then.
But being able to split those two things, that would help us
Yeah.
a lot in planning on saving both money and
Transportation
CO2
costs, yeah.
on moving from air freight to sea freight.
Dean,
Wow. Okay. I suppose we talked about one of the big major supply chain issues is around risk and disruption in terms of it. I mean, who would have thought last November that the cut off the Suez of the canal would cause such chaos in terms of the rest of the world, and then the Panama Canal kind of had a drought. So like that part of the world was then hit with it as well. So I don't know whether or not there's anything around there around kind of more intelligence around being able to impact lead times or review forecasts through live events. At the moment we do that. It's a manual input, so we'll change lead times on systems, but it would be great if AGL in the future was to say, realize there's a problem here, or there's poor weather conditions in Brazil. You might need to think about those products in terms of going forward. So I think that would be great to have.
Okay. Well, maybe one day you could ask our friend Finn.
Yeah, maybe.
See if he can
I might ask Finn.
Come
in
on.
terms
Do
of
you
that.
use Finn?
I don't, but I will now, especially around holidays.
Okay. Do you?
No, we haven't either. No, but I think it's still so new for us that we've been talking with you, Jesper, some of your colleagues, whenever we have had questions or trouble setting something
You
up.
should try Finn.
Yeah, we'll have to do next time.
Yeah.
But then a comment field on the different
Okay.
SKUs on the
To
lines.
manually be able to enter.
So just put in a
Yeah.
simple text field.
Yeah.
I think that would help a lot, especially if you have a lot of people looking into HR that are not necessarily using HR every day. So that would help a lot. On
Have you seen
adding
the comment
small-
field we can do on the order that we do? I mean, that's different from what you're
yeah.
asking, but we have that facility.
Yeah.
You can enter a comment on the order, and that
But I
can
could-
go into.
Yeah, but sometimes there's some strange exceptions or strange things you have to be aware of on some items.
Yes, it's not. That's not my comment's not a
No,
replacement
no.
for your comment.
So,
but,
that would be lovely to have.
You're talking about a free text field that you can then also use for filtering or having in the order grid or something to provide you with
Will just
options.
pop up in the info box whenever you open up the item card.
okay.
Yeah, that would be good if you could follow the product as well
Yes,
in terms of it over time. That would be really useful to Otherwise, it's all up here, isn't it? in
Yes,
terms of
exactly.
We did have a question that was sent in before today, actually, that we'd like to pose to you, if that's okay. It's very similar to one that went to Dennis earlier. But how do you cope with short-term demand spikes when you're importing low-value branded products from the Far East via sea freight, for example? how would you use AGR maybe to help you manage that, if at all possible?
For us, now it's the 10th time I say connected items, but
Okay.
again, that gives us the idea of demand in the launch period, because we know based on history, what we usually would sell in each region. So I think we can prepare for that spike that we always see when a new phone launches. That also means we will air freight or choose a multimodal transport solution to begin with. But that, it makes us aware of how much we need, when we will need it, because we know the launch dates. In many months ahead, we can connect those items as soon as we want to.
I think if it's just a standard line rather than a new line, I think we've air freighted, but it's very expensive to air freight furniture. I wouldn't recommend it unless it's really, really critical. But the safety stock numbers, I think, are key for us, because we don't buy anything in the UK. It's all imported in. So selecting the right safety stock for your product to make sure that you've got what you need in terms of it. So, and they should hopefully help you with those, very erratic fluctuations in terms of, as I said, we have it. You only have to have a social media influencer do something, and the next thing you know, you're trying to battle to get stock in really, really quickly.
Do you have the chance, either of you, to change the source, to ship from closer to home? Or
No, we don't. We source everything, source and produce everything in China.
Yep.
And we do not have plans currently of changing that. It's not really feasible to do. So for us, it's only the only parameter we can change is the transportation method.
We do slightly. We have a slight opportunity to do things like that. So, coming out of Brazil is much faster than coming out of China. It's only 22 days
bit
to
closer
ship it.
to home,
bit quicker. Yeah,
still
closer.
Still quite far.
So we have some flexibility, but not a great deal in terms of it. So that's why it's really important to get those basics at home correct in terms of your stock.
Yeah.
Really, to be fair, but sometimes going out of stock is part of what happens in supply chain. It's not great, but sometimes it happens. You just can't have that control.
Yeah. Okay, well, is there anything else that you'd like to add, or anything else that you think it would be useful for the viewers online to hear from? Are we a wrap?
What do you think about today's event? You were sitting in here watching what...
It was great. I was scribbling down about the roadmap, because obviously we haven't seen that. We're not privy to it, so it's interesting to see some of the things that are coming ahead.
Absolutely.
Connect new items, absolutely. Massive for us in terms of, and obviously for Christine as well, but also the customer portal, I think is really key.
100%. And then always interesting to hear how others work with HR, what they have gained from HR. I think that just gives some good inspiration and left me with some notes I can bring home and share tomorrow.
Yeah.
So definitely suggest registering for next time, whenever that is.
Well,
Don't think we started planning that one yet.
Plan it now.
yeah, but thank you so much for coming today. I know you were up early and you were traveling really long to be here today, so that was amazing. Thank you for your input and your time.
Thanks for
That's
inviting
great.
us.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, and thank you to the viewers for tuning in and listening to all the sessions today, and particularly this one.